DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool. DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right, we are back for show number 3 tonight. We are having a great Tuesday night. And why you may ask, is it a great Tuesday night? Well, first off, we go from the young, then we go to the old and crotchety, and now we have Kat, who just is going to delight everyone for the rest of the evening. Good evening.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on tonight. And for those of you wondering, yes, typically on Tuesdays, we have Ben Stowe come in, and he confuses us sometimes, he enlightens us sometimes, he humors us sometimes. And tonight, Kat will do all of those and more.
Oof, that's a lot of pressure to put on me, John.
Yeah, just a little bit. Oh, by the way, we're going to be taking questions on the temperature of lighting on Mars. How does the Mars atmosphere...
It depends, John. It depends.
It depends. Well, obviously you got that part. Pretty much that's 2/3 of Ben's replies. And we're going to have a prize drawing a little bit later tonight. I was just looking that up, and there we go. So it's the Echo Icon MK2. I'm going to read the description that they sent. It's a battery-powered 6-in-1 hex color, 18-watt RGB AWUV wash power uplight. It's got a full-text display, easy programming, and it comes with an IR remote. And this is from our friends at Eternal Lighting. So that's going to be kind of a cool little light fixture.
That's a great little light fixture. That's a powerful one.
And yeah, you get to see those at the different trade shows and such that you work with Eternal Lighting. And
yes.
That's why I figured it would be a good night, because you guys have talked and you guys have looked and you guys have sold those and know that they are some pretty good equipment. So yeah. So thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, we are only on YouTube. For some reason, Facebook just decided it wasn't going to play nice with us tonight. So that's their fault, or their problem, not ours. We're going to run with this. So our show tonight, we kind of build this as basically the things that you wanted to know about Ben, but we're afraid to ask. And of course, Kat, you've been working with Ben for a while now. How long have you been with Ben up there in Bemidji?
14 years.
So to kind of put us into perspective, let's go back to the beginning of those 14 years. How did you get connected with NLFX?
Well, I actually met Ben a few years before that, and I was working in a print shop here in town. And he came in to have something printed by us. And he says, hey, I have a project for you. So the first catalog was born back in 2003. And from there, he hired me on as full-time. And I've worked in the design, I've worked in sales, and I've worked my way up to marketing director.
Very nice.
Yes.
So for those who aren't familiar with what a catalog is, kids.
Okay, I dated myself. Thank you, John.
It wasn't that long ago, but gosh, I remember Ken, for those the product catalog. They were, how many pages were those? Those were, goodness.
Oh gosh, between 93 and 104.
Okay, I was going to say I thought it was about a 100-page catalog. Just to give people an idea of how much work was involved with putting something like that together, because I know from what I do with what little bit of layout and things I do, I look at that and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did you produce a product catalog like that?
The first one was the most difficult because we were starting from scratch. So it was laying out the pages, getting all of the descriptions, and I was coming from completely outside of the industry. So I had no idea what any of this stuff did.
Oh no.
But it was a really, really great learning experience. And I would love to say I'd do it again now, but I don't know if I could.
Yeah, the idea of laying out that many pages and the proofreading, and it's like, oh my gosh, that would, after a while it would all just become just this blur, I would think.
That's where the staff came in handy. Like, okay, guys, here's 10 pages apiece. Take a look. Let me know what needs to be changed. Thanks. Bye.
An elf on a shelf. I don't think that's an elf on the shelf in the background. That is.
It's actually a cow.
I was going to say, it looks like a cow on a shelf. That's what it looks like from back there.
Yes.
If you guys have any questions for Kat or anything you want to know about Ben, we'll be answering. I've already got some questions. Kat, I've been saving some of these questions for probably about a year and a half. I've had them on my computer here because I knew that there would come a day that we would be doing a show like this, and I didn't know when. You know, it's that patience thing.
Yes. Okay.
So to give you guys, we're gonna drop these questions in throughout the night for the questions of things you wanted to know about Ben Stowe, but we're afraid to ask. But now we can find out the story behind it. So the first one, Kat was kind of a little concerned about what kind of questions these would be. So I gave her one example of one of the questions and such ahead of time. So we'll start with that one, Kat. The question was, if you were to bring Ben his favorite treat for National Geek Day, this was a legit question, what would you bring him? His favorite treat?
He's a fan of chocolate, not like baked chocolate like brownies, but chocolate candy bars. So that's probably what I would bring in for him, the little Hershey nuggets with the toffee almonds.
Oh, yeah.
That and I like those. So
it's a win. It's a win-win. We all win for this one.
Yes.
A little chocolate thing. See, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Or cheesecake. He does like his cheesecake too.
Oh, see, I'm learning. I'm learning right around, and I've been around Ben a long time, but not obviously the level that Kat has. So these are questions that, after that, it's like, oh, that is a good question.
I would have actually never thought of it, but that is a good question.
Yeah, because you're getting to know the man behind the Ben Stowe image there. Another question: how many people work at the NLFX headquarters there?
It depends on the day. In the office every day we have, there's 3 people in my office. There's, in the office on a daily basis, probably about 1.5 to 2 dozen people. And that doesn't count our production guys or our trade show assistants or anything. So. And
you've got install crews that are out and about.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, because I've met quite a few of the install, just as they've been going around through the central part of Minnesota here, and they're doing different things with churches.
Mm-hmm. Great guys.
Yeah. And much younger than I am. So when they have to crawl into those little tight spots.
Unfortunately, I'd have to say not much younger than me.
Well,
but
yeah. Yeah, you're a year or two younger than I am. So you've been with the NLFX, been with Ben for 14 years. During that time, in the early days and such, kind of give us a progression of how NLFX has kind of expanded over the years, because it has grown from, when I first met Ben, it almost had kind of more of a regional feel to it.
Yeah. Well, we've grown. It's insane on how fast technology has changed, because the first catalog, for instance, had all of these fantastic spin and pukes with the 64514 light bulbs in them that you have to, duty cycle, and now everything is LED. There's so much more technology in the office, and I don't think 14 years ago I would be doing this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Just leaps and bounds on the way things are changing.
And the internet has really become a big part of the sales process from obviously 10 years ago. I would guess that that's got to become the days of the walk-in sales are limited compared to what they used to be in the audio shop. I know, just speaking from a couple of local guys, they've mentioned that. But the online, of course, has become this whole additional world.
Yeah, Facebook has become a huge seller. I mean, Katie's constantly on Facebook, and everybody knows Katie. Yeah,
and as I was just thinking about that, because she's been posting, talking, sharing like a product of the day with that little elf caricature.
Isn't that adorable?
And it's so cute, but it's like, I don't remember what she posted yesterday, but today she did a little projector, a single pole projector mount or a light mount and such. And it's like, oh yeah, that's something that you don't think. It's like, oh yeah, I was gonna order one of those. And it's just kind of a neat way that here, in the old days, it would have been, the salesperson calling up saying, hey, this is, Fred from Fred's Sales, and I was wondering if you wanted to buy a widget. That's basically what she's doing. But she's doing it on social media, and she's doing it in such a way that people are like, hey, me too. I mean, I've fallen for it. I've got a couple of things that I've had. It's like, oh, Katie, I want one of those. Can I? So yeah, there are things will use with my mobile shows and such. But it's just interesting how the technology has changed, as you were saying, and it has changed the way sales happen.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk?
Somebody knew.
No, they didn't. Okay, so let's get to another Ben question. I've got, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 of them in my repertoire so far.
Oh boy. Let's hear them.
So the next one. In all of Ben's travels, has he ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Yes.
Okay, we don't need to know any details beyond that, but in fact, I remember somebody asked me that question too about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I don't remember if it was him driving or one of our guys, but there was a story behind it, and it was hilarious. The guy driving, they then passed about 5 miles down a road, a gas station, which was his name and the word fast. So I think it was fast fill or something like that, because you fill up at a gas station.
Yep.
So not 5 minutes later, and it was just one of those stories that we still tell in the office.
Oh, funny. When I was one of the first times of heading up to Bemidji there to get to there, and it's like Ben was, it's like, oh, how long will it take me to get there? Oh, it takes about 2.5 hours. I'm looking at the map. It's like, no way in the world. It takes me 2.5 hours to get to Park Rapids. Well, it depends how you drive.
Well, okay, so I have to admit I've made it from Bemidji to Bloomington, Minnesota in 3.5 hours. I will admit that.
Yeah.
It really depends on how fast you're going.
Yeah, you'd have to be moving and such. And the roads at one time they were all 55. Now there's some 60 in there. And then, of course, you get to the freeway, which is 70.
Yep.
If you add those numbers up, you're still not getting 3.5 hours. I'm just going to say that. So for those of you wondering out there.
Math is non-existent. It's okay.
Math doesn't work in rural Minnesota. We just count deer as we're flying through. It's a different world now.
Right.
So we've got NAMM coming up here in a couple of 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks. Have you been getting some of the press releases and such? And has anything that you've seen so far caught your eye that we can talk about?
Not yet. To be honest, I'm more focused on getting our meeting set with our manufacturers for NAMM. It's really a busy time for us, and my staff really doesn't like me some days when it comes to the meetings because I book us back to back to back to back. So,
For people who don't know what the NAMM, why that would be an issue, and why I know exactly why they don't like that. Explain to our viewers why your staff doesn't like you booking back to back to back to back.
Because the NAMM show is held at the Anaheim Convention Center, which they added on to this last year. So it's even more floor space. As many of you know, we have over 100 manufacturers of gear that we carry, and NAMM is where we meet with them. And it's 4 days, 8 hours a day of meetings.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like the meetings, because this is the Anaheim Convention Center, which is like, from one end to the other, if you're walking it, is probably about a half an hour walk or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And it never fails that this meeting and this meeting and this meeting, it's like, okay, I've got 5 minutes to get to this meeting, and it's a 10 to 12 minute walk.
Well, I have gotten to the point where I look at where our meetings are, and I try to book them all in the same hall.
You are a very nice person.
I try.
No. Oh, and then there's that little sign saying, "Oh, our booth. This wasn't our booth. Our booth is on the other end of the building."
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we have 2 booths. You actually want to be at the one over there.
Yeah, there we go. Which is better, NAMM or Mobile Beat? Somebody asked in the chat room here. You want to handle that one?
I don't think there's a better between the two. They're 2 completely different shows.
Yeah.
So Mobile Beat is more geared towards our end users, and NAMM is geared towards the dealers. So it's 2 very different animals.
Yeah, very much so. And Arnaldo just mentioned in the chat room here that NAMM just isn't for DJs. There are a lot of DJs who get in there for how NAMMs generally say that they're very tight and such about the tickets and such, but obviously if you really want to, you can get a ticket from someone to get in there. You have to have a ticket, and you have to have the ticket name match your ID. They are a stickler for that.
They do check your ID every day when you go in. Every time you enter that showroom, you're carded, basically.
And no, Arnaldo, I'm not going to ask Kat to tell a dirty joke. Okay, just going to get that out of there.
Fell in the mud. There you go.
Thank you. But yeah, so NAMM is really, really, as Kat said, for the dealers. And yes, DJs are there. But the frustrating thing you'll find is if you are a DJ who goes to it is you're going to look at, and some companies, they'll show gear and you're going to see it later in the year. There's so much cool stuff that you will see that never sees the light of day after NAMM. And that's just part of and you can go to our video channel and you'll see videos on things that never, I have people who are like, where did it go? What happened to it? Why? Yeah, they just.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's an area in which, because it's a dealer event, they show things, and there's some companies out there that will show a thing that they're like, I'm not sure if we should do this or not. So they'll show it, and then they'll get feedback from dealers like and Ben and the Cat folks of the world will come through and say, "Wow, I don't think that's gonna sell. Why would you put an LED on that?" And that conversation happens a lot at some of those booths. I'm just saying. So. That's one of the things that DJs will come through and they're like, oh yes, this is all, and I want to buy it next week. No,
nope,
it just doesn't work that way. So yeah, it's not an end user show. Mobile Beat end user show. Everything you see there, you can pretty much buy. There's very, very seldom that anything that is there is prototype. While it does happen at DJ Expo, as an example, there was the Roland stuff which you couldn't touch, and Newmark had the. Wasn't it Newmark? Who had the? No, Rain. Rain had the board that was under glass at DJ Expo, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Somebody had something under glass. I thought it was Rain. Yeah, it was from the In Music companies. It was one of those. Okay. Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, like the little speakers. The Denon speakers were a prime example of this. They made those cute little cube speakers, and I was so excited. I thought those were going to be the kick butt little speakers, and they never made it.
Yep.
No, it didn't happen. Okay, let's go to our next Ben question.
Okay.
Ben flies a lot, as we all know. Mm-hmm. And the question was, which is Ben's least favorite airport? Of all the airports, which one does he like the least?
I don't know. I have no idea. I know which ones we're at the most.
Yeah. Well, does he have an airport in which you would know that he likes that airport beyond the one that's at home as he's going home?
You read my mind, John. I was going to say the Bemidji Airport on the last leg of any trip.
For those who wouldn't be aware of how you guys fly out, you're in Bemidji, so you can catch a plane right in town, in essence. But from there, it becomes kind of a journey. So if you're going to go to Vegas, what does your route how does it work?
Typically, we fly from Bemidji, take a 45-minute flight down to Minneapolis, and depending on how good I was at booking flights, we either have a 45-minute layover to run to our next gate, or we have a 3-hour layover.
Ooh, why?
And then from there, we fly into Vegas.
Direct flight then to Vegas, I'm guessing.
Yep, direct flight. We try to book as many direct flights as we can. I mean, nobody really likes airports, so we try to spend as little time in them as possible.
Yeah, that's for sure. Is there any direct flights out of Bemidji, or do they all go to Minneapolis first?
They all go to Minneapolis first.
Gotcha. Okay, just checking the chat room here because they've been pretty. So you came from a printing background, and you obviously have graphic design. Have they ever gotten you out on an event where you've been helping with the sound crew and doing some things like that?
Oh yeah. I've pushed cases around backstage and helped with a few things.
And that leads me to the actual question about it. As you're seeing that side of things, do you think if you wouldn't have been pulled in with the graphic side of it first, do you think that this being involved in the entertainment industry is something that you would have come to because you enjoy it, or is this one of those things that's kind of a necessary evil?
I do enjoy it, but if I hadn't started in with the graphics, I probably wouldn't be involved in the industry in the way that I am.
Sure.
I'd see everything from a seat in the audience instead of like the catwalks above taking pictures or backstage, which backstage, if you really think about it, it's just everything behind a black curtain.
There's not much magic behind that.
No, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, because we're unfortunately behind the curtain an awful lot.
Yes.
Ben's favorite tractor.
Ooh.
Favorite model of tractor. Somebody just put that in. This one you might be able to answer.
Well, I know he's got an old Ford 8N. That was his grandpa's.
Yep.
So that one's pretty near and dear to his heart.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I've heard this story about this one a little bit. And in his office, he has something tractor related, doesn't he?
Yes, he actually has a little model of his Ford on his credenza in his office.
So there we go. So yep, that was good question there. Thank you. What is Ben's golden rule of DJing? I think for any of you who watch Ben's show, that his golden rule is having the right rig for the gig. I think if you're going to,
right for the gig. I think that would be the golden rule.
And if that isn't, it would just depend.
It would depend, yes.
Vera was asking about Ben being a farmer. You want to give a little of how Ben's connection to farming is?
I know his grandfather had a farm in South Dakota. Mm-hmm. I've actually been to it. Really nice place. I don't remember which member of his family settled there, but I do know that's where they settled coming over from. I know his grandma is very Irish. I think his grandfather was too. So they settled in a small town in South Dakota, and that's where the family farm is.
And as a child, if I'm not mistaken from Ben talking, that he spent time at that farm a little bit with his grandfather.
Yep, and I think they farmed as well. I think they have beef.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah, getting to some of those questions you guys have about Ben.
The nitty-gritties,
The
right?
little... I have no heater on here. Yeah, this weekend. Okay, so at this time of the year, we end up talking about weather at some point in time during the show, Kat. Sorry. How cold are you guys going to be this weekend up there? Have you?
Probably if we're lucky in the teens for warm. We were supposed to get like 10 inches of snow on Thursday. Now they're saying 2.
2 inches of snow, and they're talking that 15 you're talking about, it's going to be the high. The lows are going to probably maybe sometime next week hit maybe 15 below, unfortunately.
Oh, let's not rush that.
Yeah, it's
inevitable.
Bar, we can't that one we can't answer as far as what's his favorite brand. We can't. They rep too many gear brands. We can't put him on a spot like that. But someone has to question similar to that. Let's see. Where was that one? Okay. The kind of similar, instead of brand, I'm going to take the R out and it's band. But what is the song that the staff at LFX, when they hear that song, they think of Ben?
Oh, there's a couple of them.
Nice.
Actually.
I was hoping for more than one.
Madness by Muse is one of them.
And the reasoning behind that would be?
It's one that he likes to tune a system with.
Okay.
And then there's the ones that he plays because he knows they drive me nuts. And there's a dubstep one that came out a couple of years ago, Bangarang, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He needs to stop playing that one because it drives me insane. So he took over the radio in my car and plugged his phone in and started playing it. So I'm like, no.
And now you are going to walk.
Yes.
Okay.
I've threatened him with that a couple of times.
Any others that jump out at you?
Those are the two that jump out right off the top of my head.
No, not the Star Wars theme song. Although I think for a lot of DJs that would be now they've conditioned themselves when they think Star Wars, they think Ben Stowe. But the staff.
Well, I will admit the Darth Vader march is his ringtone on my phone. It has been for about 10 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, people love. I love Bangarang. No, Cat doesn't. Cat doesn't. Oh, neat. Did you go to school up in? Are you from the Bemidji area originally, or did you?
Born and raised.
Okay, so that was your hometown area.
Yep.
I've never thought to ask you that. I've wondered a couple of times, like, did she go to school there? Because a lot of times, Bemidji, for those of you who are outside our area, has got a very nice college up there and a very nice 4-year college. And a lot of kids from central Minnesota go that direction because it's a fairly inexpensive college, very good college, beautiful area up there in the summertime. Wintertime, it's frigid. We'll just leave it at that.
There's extended parking in the wintertime. It's called the lake.
Yes. And in the summertime, you can walk. This is one of the few lakes you can pretty much, if you're like a 6-foot person, you can almost walk across the middle of the lake in one spot. It's an unusual body of water. It's a neat and beautiful area. There's a beautiful campground on the north end. We've camped there numerous times. So, but yeah, it's I've never thought to, I've kind of wondered that a couple of times.
I was born and raised all through high school in Bemidji. I left to go to college. Big city just wasn't my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. So I moved home.
Yeah, very nice. Speaking of cities, what is Ben's favorite city? If he would relocate, what's one of the cities he talks about that he'd probably be interested in relocating to?
He's talked about South Dakota, back to the family farm. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't think we really talked about where he would relocate to.
Yeah, and this is an interesting, because Ben and I were kind of talking about this on the show the other night, because we were talking about cold weather, and he was sharing that his wife isn't a fan of cold weather, and I was sharing that my wife isn't a fan of cold weather, and we came to the conclusion that if they found a warm spot down in South Texas, they probably would be gone.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, you guys just come and visit when you're okay. Funny. So let's we're going to take a break here and do put our sponsor spot up, and then we're going to do our drawing to give away our light here, and I'll get the description up so we can talk more about that, but we'll be back in 40 seconds. Back live. There we are. Okay, great. We are back. Kat Carrlson is with me tonight. We're talking about Ben Stowe, all things Ben Stowe, or maybe not much Ben Stowe. No, it's a lot of Ben Stowe, because it's
a lot.
It's his show tonight, and he is off tonight, spending some time with some extended family around in a different part of the country. So, and then I saw some pictures today. Was it? He met with a friend of ours down in Bloomington or Normal, Illinois, in that area, somewhere in that vicinity. And I'll tell you that. Kat, did you see the little video clip that Ben Miller posted?
Not.
Oh, you've got it. So one of Ben's little ones is quizzing, Ben Miller's little one is quizzing Ben Stowe on some Star Wars trivia.
Oh, I'm going to find this one.
Yes, and the little guy, he has some really. It's like, oh, that was a good question. So
you got to run for his money.
Yes. I think Mr. Stowe got the first one wrong and he got the second one right, and so yeah, if you guys get a chance, go out to, you can search Ben Miller. He's a friend of mine on Facebook there, and his little guy. So anyway, so our drawing, we're giving away a light tonight from Eternal Lighting. This is the Echo Icon MK2. It is from their Echo line. Now the Echo line isn't that the battery powered line?
It is battery powered, yeah.
So
it's battery powered, wireless DMX, IR enabled, so you can change it with a remote control. Just a really great fixture. I have one in our showroom that I play with.
Yeah, and I love the way we get to see Eternal's Lighting's booth at a few different shows over the last few years, and some of the technology that he's been bringing to the market. And I say it that way because Mark has been bringing some things to the DJ industry before we see it coming in with some of the bigger companies. And he's been able to do some cool things. I mean, he was the first one who is basically, hey, I can control everything from my phone here and watch this show. And it's like, oh, wow, that was really with uplights. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Neat stuff. So our winner of that, of our the uplight here from Eternal Light, is Ricardo Sealy. Ricardo Sealy, Sealy. And I don't have a company name. So, Ricardo, I'm going to have to email you and get more information and such. But congratulations, Ricardo. You are the winner of the Eternal Lighting, the Echo Icon MK2. Yay.
Congratulations.
Yes, you will enjoy that light. Okay, we got a couple more questions here. We're going to hit, and then I want to try. I've got to be headed off here in about 5 minutes. So we're going to maybe only get two of those. One question that people have asked on a few occasions, and I know the answer to this one, but I just want to get yours. Does Ben ever get a chance to take his family with when he goes traveling on his different business trips?
He actually sets separate trips aside for business. I know he did have one trip coincide with LDI a couple of years ago, and he took the family to Disney.
Nice.
But most of the time, from what I've seen, he tries to keep the work trips separate from the family trips so that he doesn't have to give up time with the family.
Yeah. But he's able to, he brought his son, I believe, to like Milwaukee. And probably Milwaukee's just a little bit less of a huge business trip. I mean, it's not a NAMM, that's for sure.
Right.
And
yeah, he's brought I know he's taken his older daughter to a show down in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. She worked a show for him. But other than that, just the small ones, never any of the really big ones.
Yeah. Okay, and then I think we're going to wrap up with, let's see, I don't want to do that one. Okay. The last one is Ben. Ben, of course, people view him as a very athletic man. In Ben's younger days, if Ben would have been, as the crew is finishing up for the day, and if Ben was going to challenge them to some athletic competition to go out and play a little bit, what sport would that have been in Ben's younger days?
Ben was a wrestler, so he'd probably take him to the mat.
And now, do you know if that indeed happened on a few occasions?
I do know. I have witnessed. There may or may not be pictures. I cannot confirm nor deny that.
Yes, and I think that's the best way we will leave that one. So for the person who was asking about that, because they've seen Ben with the hockey jerseys and a few other things, and fun. Well, gang, we're going to wrap things up here. Kat, thank you for filling in tonight for Ben. I appreciate your time, and I love your nice wintry northern Minnesota look there. That's so awesome. Makes me feel like
we gotta bring a little bit of the season, right?
Yeah, that is definitely some good stuff. And thank you guys for being with us tonight with our shows and such. Remember, if you haven't had a chance to sign up for the drawing, you can go to discjockeynews.com/holidays. You can sign up. Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing 3 more drawings, and then that'll be wrapping up with our big drawing at our 10 o'clock Eastern show. Yeah, Dave and Jeremy are going to be giving away a pair of Electro Voice, the ELX 200. ELX 200, a pair of the 15-inch speakers. We'll be doing that tomorrow night, and you guys can have a chance to win if you are registered. So, Kat, once again, thank you very much, and have a great holiday season.
Thanks so much, Sean. Thanks for having me on for Ben tonight. I enjoyed it.
Great stuff. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.